Yes guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I hope everyone is doing well. This is one of the most important videos that you've ever watched to do with ICT on YouTube, giving you the step-by-step honest guide to profitability and seeing if you have what it takes. Now it doesn't take much, but it takes extreme amounts of discipline and patience with following the model over a period of time. I am confidently #1, no bullshit, straight stats, proof, guidance and facts ICT trader in the whole space. There is no one that is above me on social media, and I can say that as a fact. In this video, I'm going to be guiding you guys down the exact process that you need to follow and understanding the model from A to Z, the full ICT playbook. We're going over multiple topics, not just the model, but we're also understanding how I determine my bias, risk management, according to using prop firms, scaling up, and getting down to actually executing the model. The slow route is the fast route. Let's get straight into this video. So before we dive any further, I want to mention to you guys about our Discord. We trade live every single day, and we're currently running a very rare opportunity of a 50% off lifetime access sale. Many of you guys missed out on this opportunity last time, which was some time back, but we're only running it for 24 hours. And if you've been waiting for this moment, now is your time. Inside of the Discord, you get access to so much value, it is unbelievable. No other trading Discord is going to give you this much value because they simply don't have it to provide, and they are not as experienced as I am in multiple different fields. We guide you down the risk management for an evaluation of funded, prop firms, scaling plan, account management, checklist guide, AM prep, so we prep for the AM session each day, daily results, both wins and losses, people passing and taking payouts, flexing channel, yearly P&L, so you guys can see how much transparency I'm closing each week. I'm closing each week and each month inside of the group and what trades we've actually taken. People can put public questions and at me or at other members who are very experienced also, and they're willing to help other members and bring them up to another level. General chat to discuss different topics. The PvP channel is a competition that we're currently running, and it always shall run, and you can actually see which members are at the top of the Discord and which ones are at the bottom, and this separates in the PvP channel based off total capital and monthly P&L. So if you've made the most in that Discord inside of that PvP, your name shall be at the top of the list because you've made $50,000 this month, and let's say that was the highest number. And then inside of the backtesting channel at the bottom of the list, you can see one of the channels for ICT Fanatic with the king emoji is where we publicly go live inside of that channel and do a full intensive private backtesting session, and previous recordings are posted inside of that channel, so you can choose to watch that and also tune into our private backtesting sessions that we conduct and answer questions with the group on days that we don't take positions or monitor price. And then the backtesting VIP only is a public channel where people can conduct their own backtesting sessions and talk with other members and get feedback and work together. And then this is the live streams that we go live every single day. You guys can see my executions and watch me monitor price live. This is another member who's volunteered to do daily breakdowns, and he does full breakdowns using mostly his analysis and AI, so some people found that useful. That's why that's been added. All of my crypto swing plays, if I take a crypto position like the Bitcoin short that I'm currently in, you can see I was floating $66,170-ish, but now currently in more of a profit around the $80,000 range profit, and actually did tick over 100k in profit around 1 week ago when Bitcoin dropped very close to around $80,000, but it's now back up to around 90. So all crypto positions that I take are posted inside of that channel for you guys to grow, not just from your payouts from the futures space, but then taking the futures payouts, scaling up your accounts and putting other portions of your income into crypto positions. I guide you on the full step-by-step guide in getting into real estate, how to take advantage of 0% tax, and also health is very important. And the superhuman guide, I give you all of my supplements on what I take on a day-to-day basis. And essentially what I'm saying to you guys now wouldn't mean anything without actual results. So during October, this is how I closed out the month of October. In week 1, I made nothing and took no positions. In week 2, I made $115,500 on 3 positions, 2 winning positions at a 2-to-1R, 1 stopped out in a profit for plus 0.5R, and you can see as week by week, and then ended up closing October for $200,448. Now this month for me was meant to be around 226,000, but on this given week I took this position on the 20th of October and got scammed by one of my friends whilst I was selling my watch. And due to me getting scammed by one of my friends, I accidentally took a trade outside of macro. This was an accident. This was a very rare human error that I never actually have ever made in my entire trading career, as taking a trade outside of macro. But on this unfortunate event of getting scammed out of $70,000 by one of my friends, I got slightly distracted and seen the model, but it was 30 seconds out of macro and it cost me $24,600. So this month of October, you can see there was not a single loss that actually occurred, apart from this one, which was minus 0.2R, but as relatively nothing, and still closed that week plus 2.2R in a profit. So a very strong month of October, and you can see that's the payout, which was from October, not November. So that's just from my live account. I also took payouts from Top Step, FTMO, Take Profit, My Fund of Futures, Alpha Futures. So it was a very solid month. Now let's look at November's results. So in November so far, you can see we are very much at the end of November, and we are going to be monitoring price tomorrow on Friday for the 28th. But the current Q4 results so far is plus 4.6R, and I'm in a profit of $109,965.66. So it is a slow Q4, but still comfortable. We have the whole of December, and we're going to see how we perform over the month of December. So far in the month of November, I'm currently down minus 3.4R, and I'm down $90,483, which in general, this is around 1 to 2 positions and would easily recover back to being break even on the month. Now, considering we're at the end of the month, we have one trading day, we are going to close this month in a loss. Our capital has been absolutely preserved, and we've taken the absolute correct positions this month. The model has been executed to perfection this month, so everything has been absolutely perfect. So hopefully this gives you more insight to our Discord. There's a link in the description. Secure your spot before we close. Before we start, I want to illustrate one thing. This is very, very important. The longer you spend sharpening your knife, the more effective you shall cut through the price action. Now, if you don't quite understand that quote of what I've wrote myself, is that if you don't practice outside of live price action, when it comes to live price action, you're going to feel directionless and also rushed in live price action, as you're not confident in the process and identifying the model on a day-to-day basis. And you also have not built up the level of confidence that you need for yourself when you was to enter a slight losing streak, or you're entering a period where you're not taking that many positions and you're wondering, is the model ever going to present? And you will ask yourself that question when you go 5-6 days without taking a trade because the model's not presented. You're going to say to yourself, is it ever going to present? And you see other people making money, but you're yet again getting misleaded on social media and getting guided down the wrong route of what's not actually happening behind the scenes. These social media influencers are misleading you and misguiding you on a day-to-day basis, and I'm only here to give you the pure facts and information that's going to turn you to ultimate profitability. You need to dedicate time to this business. This business is a billion-dollar industry, or money shall not be dedicated to your bank account. Regardless, the process always lies the same, even if you're at the bottom and you've made $0, or you're at the top and you've made over $1 million in payouts or on your live account. The same process always lies to backtesting, forward testing, and becoming very critical and self-analytical on the positions that you have taken in order to understand what position you're currently at, what your average risk to reward is, what is your current win rate, and how it can be improved. Is there any consistency with your losses and averages that you can work out and change so next year you are more profitable, more precise, and that's a year-by-year improvement that you shall make. So here is the full checklist entry requirements to taking a given position. The entry checklist of an A+ model and a B+ model presents in front of you right now. Step number 1, you need to determine your bias purely off imbalances, and I'm going to guide you guys through on an example position that I personally took myself later on in this video, so stick around. You do not want to click off this video. A sweep sweep of liquidity to pair with your bias. If you have a bullish bias, you want a sweep of sell side. If you have a bearish bias, you want a sweep of buy side. A fair value gap on both NQ and ES. And with that gap, you want a breaker block or a mitigation block paired with a fair value gap on either NQ or ES. And it does not have to be paired on both. Not going against the 5 and 15 minute fair value gap draw on liquidity. Now this is something you don't have to pay attention to, but this will result in a trade being B plus or A plus. For example, if you're taking a long position, but price is trading in a 5 or a 15 or both bearish fair value gap, then it would result in that long being a B plus position. You cannot avoid a shift in market structure on both assets. This is essential, and you must have a market structure shift on both NQ and ES. A valid stop placement of 30 handles max, and our actual max stop placement is 60 handles. And if you take a position with a 60 handle stop, it shall result with a 30 handle position size and just half that position size, and that will give you the same dollar amount risk as a 60 handle stop. And your position must be inside of macro such as 9:45, 10:15, 10:45, 11:15, 11:45, 12:15. These are the three macros that I monitor, and entries are always inside of this window. And an SMT is only a confluence, it's not essential to actually taking the model. And you're probably wondering, what are the stats, what is the proof, and what can you expect realistically from 3.5 years of proven data of myself trading live? What is my current win rate? So my current win rate is 58%. It's not 99%, it's not 100% win rate this week, it's not 85%, okay? My win rate is 58% with an average risk reward of a 2 to 1. I've done over 1.6 million in payouts and $1.1 million in profit on my live account / my crypto account over the last 3.5 years. These are my exact stats, no bullshit. Let's get into the next slide. The model in true form and being realistic. This is the model, and this is exactly what you would look for in price. The model is extremely simple, and once you get this down and have backtested it with time, you shall become extremely confident in identifying this model. It shall present based off probability 1 to 2 times per week, and you will have weeks when it will present 3 or 4 times. You will have weeks when it doesn't present at all, and you're sat there scratching your head thinking, will the model ever present? Naturally, you are going to want, as a human being, you're going to want to be taking a position every single macro, and you want a winning trade every single day to spike your dopamine senses and think that you're doing better than you actually are. But less trades and less positions, but following the model is what's actually going to make you profitable and take you to the place you're meant to be. What your brain actually wants is the lies you've been fed on social media. You want that 100k payout now to free you from your current situation or prove to others, but you can't even sit there for 6 months for a promotion in this business. This business will entirely pay far greater than 100,000, far greater than $1 million in payouts, okay? This business shall pay you like you can't imagine, but you can't even sit there for 3 to 6 months in following the model consistently, turning up each day, backtesting, expanding your knowledge, understanding your model, understanding your edge, trading your accounts, and growing your capital over a period of time. And this is why you keep wheel spinning in the same situation, because every month you start fresh, and every single month you're only going to take a certain amount of positions, and you're not giving yourself that probable edge. To the majority of you guys, this is going to potentially sound quite similar to yourself. You only started following the model this week, this month, or this quarter, and you're worried about the fact you haven't been paid out or done over 50k in payouts yet, or maybe you're just trying to reach your first $500 payout and you've received nothing. And this is exactly about what we just spoke about. As you can see in the photo here, this is a photo that I uploaded as it was a position that I personally took myself. This is a chart stated of NQ, and we actually had a bearish SMT at buy side, so ES took the high, NQ didn't, so that was a bearish SMT on NQ, a shift in market structure on NQ, a fair value gap on both assets, a breaker block on ES which was paired with the fair value gap, and a breaker block on NQ paired with the gap as well, an entry inside of macro, and then price ran towards TP in the space of 5 to 6 minutes. This is the exact guide which is going to make you $1 million, and if you don't listen to this, you have lost your mind, because I'm giving you 5 years of trading experience inside of a very short YouTube video for free. Step number 1, you buy 5 50k top step evaluations, and you aim to pass them in 2 to 4 weeks. It doesn't matter how you pass them, just pass them, either by trading the model exactly with a higher risk to pass them faster, or you can go down the dirty route of using extremely high leverage and taking positions which are not not valid and just looking to burn through evals until you pass them. Once they're funded, trade up to a 3k profit per account, withdraw 500 to 1000 per account, which would be anywhere from a 2.5 to a 5k USD payout. That 5k USD payout, 2k go blow on a couple dinners with a few women, and the other 3k you're going to use it for this. Step number 2, you're going to buy 5 take profit, 5 my funded future evals. When you go for my funded futures, make sure you go for the Pro Plus plan, because this is going to be your route to actually taking large payouts in the near future. And if you don't, you'll be capped at 1k or 1.5k ish payouts with my funded futures. So you need the Pro Plus plan. On the Pro Plus plan at the moment with my funded futures, they have same day pass. You need 66 points using free contracts, and if you full port the New York Open or at any given point and capture 66 points, then you have passed your my funded futures account. So that's how you acquire them very, very fast. Add these to Trade Syncer, including your Top Step X accounts, and then you can mirror the positions that you take on Top Step, which would then run onto your Take Profit and My Funded Future evals, eventually passing that account. Eventually, you're going to have 15 funded accounts on Top Step, Take Profit and My Funded Futures, and then you're going to move on to Step 3. To fund Step 3, you can then again take a small payout from Top Step of around 2.5k. You won't need all of it. You're going to buy 3 50k Alpha Future accounts, add them onto Trade Syncer as evals, and eventually they're going to pass. And then you can look to scale. So at this point, you're going to be making $10,000 to $11,000 per trade with a standard drawdown. You're going to look to scale that buffer up to a 4.5k profit on that 50k account. So now you have a 4.5k drawdown. Simple as that. You go from risking $300 per account per trade to making 600, and now you're going to be risking 600 to make 1.2 per account per trade. You're currently running 18 accounts. That'll be 18 times 1.2k profit. That is how much your total profit will be per trade, which has now surpassed $20,000 in one single trade. You need to raise your expectations, because this is not a side hustle and not a business that you should be aiming for to make $300 or $1,000. This is how much you'll be making as a bare minimum. So now I'm going to guide you guys through a position that I personally took and show you how I determine bias and work through the model step by step. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so as you can see in front of you as of now, we're looking at a position I took on the 27th of March inside of the first day of macro, and I took this position when I was back in Miami at the early start of this year. I want to walk you guys through this. So on the 15-minute time frame, I always start by marking out the key levels, and I look for London highs, London lows, Asia, previous day high and low, previous week high and low, and other liquidity levels that are just obvious in price, like this 15-minute high. So as you can see here, if we ensure that we're on the New York time, which we are, you can see, and a quick tip if you don't already know on TradingView, make sure you click this. You have NQ and ES on both sides and have interval turned on, as this, when you change time frames, for example, will change for both the charts instead of you having to change on the both manually. So let's start by marking out this obvious high, which you can see from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. This would be Asia highs. As you can see here, we have a low, which we're currently looking at Thursday. This is Wednesday, and it trades back to the start of Wednesday. You can see this is going to be previous day low. And then we have a very obvious point of buy side and another point of buy side. And whatever you mark out on NQ, make sure you bring this over and paste it onto ES as well. That is everything that I would look to mark out, nothing more, nothing less. So a similar level on ES, you can see this is Asia highs at 11:30 p.m. But when we bring it over to ES has already taken Asia highs. So the difference is that this has produced London highs. So sometimes there will be differences such as an SMT, they're all the same previous day low, point of buy side, another point of buy side. Okay, perfect. So we're currently at 9:41 a.m. New York local time, so 4 minutes prior to the first day of macro. We've marked out our point of buy side at this same time at 9:40 a.m. I determine my bias. So I determine my bias purely off imbalances and what price is trading out of on both higher time frame and intraday. On the daily time frame, we're currently trading out of a daily bullish gap, so the bias is bullish on the daily towards the next daily high or bearish gap. On the 4-hour time frame, you can see we traded out of a 4-hour bearish gap. We would be bearish towards the next bullish gap or 4-hour low. We took the 4-hour low, which neutralized the bearish bias, and we've traded into a 4-hour bullish gap. So this is bullish on the 4-hour time frame. On the hourly time frame, you can see we're currently trading out of an hourly bullish new week opening gap. So this is bullish on the hourly. The results we have so far is the daily is bullish, the 4 hours bullish, and the 1 hour is bullish. We are now going to check the 15 and also the 5. As you can see here, for an overall bias out of 5 results, we already have 3 results as bullish, which is always going to lean towards a bullish bias, even if the 5 and 15 come back to being bearish. So bear this in mind. As soon as you have 3 results leaning one way, this will always be your overall bias as of that current point in price action. Let's look at the 15. So on the 15 minute, you can see any bearish result would be neutralized from taking this low, so there's no reason to pay attention to that. This candle's still trading open, so we are going to assume that this bullish gap is going to be respected, which is the same new week opening gap. So the 15 is bullish towards the next 15 high or bearish gap, whichever comes first. And then on the 5-minute time frame, you can work towards the left to see if you're trading out of some sort of bullish imbalance. But in this case, we're not going to need to do that because we have an 80% bullish bias, and whether it's 100% or 80% is not going to stop us from taking a position. So we will just put this one for now as NA. So now we're going to monitor price on the 1-minute time frame, and we're looking for a shift in market structure on both assets, because right now, as we work through the checklist, as we spoke at the start of this video, is that we look for our bias and a sweep of liquidity following the bias. We have a sweep of sell side, which is previous day low, and a bullish bias. This high, which you can reference, is the invalidation high. Price should not shift market structure and end up taking out this next high of what you can see here. So I'm going to mark this as IV, invalidation, and you want to paste this on ES as well as your invalidation high. Hence, if price shifts enough in market structure, ends up taking this high, it's already met one of the first objectives, not the final, but one of the objectives that you'd look in that position. So let's fast forward price as we get into the macro. As you can see here, NQ has shifted market structure, and as of this current point in price, ES has not shifted market structure. So if we mark this out so we can be more clear, is that a market structure shift occurs above the previous and first short-term high in price or short-term low in a bearish scenario. You can see here ES shifts market structure, NQ has shifted market structure and also left a gap, but there's no gap currently on ES. The next candle opens for ES and closes. NQ has a gap and a shift, so there's a shift on both assets. So number 3 is ticked off. Number 4 is a gap on both. We have a gap on NQ but not a gap on ES, so no position as of now. Our new shift in market structure, with our invalidation high being here, would be here. There you go. So we've seen a shift in market structure on NQ and on ES. We've seen a gap form on ES. Now we need to see a gap form on NQ. Perfect. So we have a gap on NQ and a gap on ES. Monitor ES closely to see if we take the invalidation high, because that would make this position invalid. We're looking for an entry of this 1-minute bullish gap, presuming that we do not take the invalidation high before entry. Okay, so we've not taken invalidation high before entry. You can see price trades down into the bullish furley gap. This would trigger us into a long position. We'd run our stop placement at the protected low for a 48.5 handle stop. So it always ensure that your stop placement in regards to handles ends up where you're risking always the same dollar amount. So on a 50k funded account, you always want to ensure that you're risking $300 per trade, and then you're going to target the first 1-minute high that gives you as close to a 2-to-1 as possible. And what you can see here, this point of buy side at 105.00 gives us an absolute spot on 1.97 risk to reward, and that same high which you can see here, 837, I want to look at this on ES, which you can see, and this is our overall draw. For example, if ES trades up to this point of buy side and takes it before NQ, that would cause us to close out of our position prematurely on NQ. So presuming the stop placement on my live account, I'll take this with a given 18 contract, and my stop placement would be 960.75, and my TP just below the point of buy side, so it's at 105. I'd run it at 103.00 to ensure a fill at equal highs upon TP. Let's see how we would manage this position. The first high which has been put in place is our TS to trail stops, and we would trail stops the previous short-term low upon that point, and we only trail stops the break even once price from TP to break even takes a high or creates a bullish gap in favor of the trade past 50%. So let's fast forward price. Price takes out the first short-term high, puts in a short-term low. We would then trail our stops from a 48 to 8. So that is over an 80% takeoff from risk, as you can see there. So as soon as price trades above the short-term high, you trail stops to the previous short-term low, and then as this candle has progressed, it's actually taken out our invalidation high, which is past 50%. So at this point, you would trail your stops entirely to break even, which your entry with a bit of slippage would have been an average entry at about 0.1125. So it's break even as of now, and you'd leave your stops there, couple ticks away from TP, and there's no reason to be trailing our stops as of now. We would leave this unfilled breakaway gap there, and we'd leave our stops currently at break even. What you can do, because of this breakaway gap, you can trail your stops to the low of the breakaway gap at 0.2275, and I would leave my stops there as of now. As you can see, price has trailed back, taken sell stops and traded back into this breakaway gap. So make sure you closely monitor ES as it's trading towards the objective of buy side. And boom, there you go. That next candle, as you can see on ES, takes our objective of buy side at 761 on ES. Therefore, we close out of this position at this current price point, which would give us a 1.8 risk to reward on our given position on NQ. So guys, I really hope you found value from this YouTube video all the way from start to finish. I put a lot of effort into these PowerPoints to break it down and make it as simple for you guys to understand and as effective as possible, so you guys have a full clear roadmap on what to look for in day-to-day price action and executions upon taking it in a live case scenario as well, and also realistic expectations without any sort of misleading information or guidance that you shouldn't be receiving from other social media influencers who are just brainwashing their overall audience. Make sure you drop a like on this video so it can go out to as many people as possible. It's much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if it is the first time hearing me, then that's pretty crazy. And I wish you guys a great rest of your weekend, and I'll speak to you guys shortly.